Back to West Ham Unofficial and another Premier League roundup show for another week. Apologies for being a little bit late. Sean just had to say his thank yous and clap and wave Mauricio Pochettino as he entered the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So that's why we were running a little bit late. I hope you are all well. We've got plenty to discuss about this weekend's action, and the main event, as most people will probably say, hasn't even kicked off yet. So we've certainly got a lot to get through. The normal gang with me this week, as always. Josh, how are you?
Okay, thanks. How are you?
Not bad. Sean, how are you, mate?
Not bad at all, mate. Hope you're all well.
Good stuff. Right, before we get on, let's see what we've got in the chat. Josh's granddad's in nice and early. I think Everton got a result this weekend. That's why he's here. We'll get onto that a little bit later on. Did they? I'm just looking through. I can't see Everton. Did they get a result, Josh?
1-1 against Brighton.
1-1 against Brighton. I can't see that on my list, which is a concern. So I'll have to edit that. Right. Multitask. That's what I'm going to do now. Multitask. Right. Let's go first to the Craven Cottage. Fulham 0, Manchester United 1. Now, this is where we thought we'd get the majority of the VAR drama for the weekend, but oh, were we so wrong, Josh?
Yeah, well, I'd say it always is good to see United have a dodgy decision against them because, choose your way around. But no, the first goal definitely should have stood. McTominay was in offside position again. The one who came was a Garnacho, wasn't from the free kick. He did look on, which is a bit silly. But I didn't watch the game, but I've seen it on Match of the Day, and it looked like Fulham had the better chances, especially at the start of the second half. They looked like they come out quite strong. They were on top. João Palhinha had quite a few chances, and he's a midfielder, so they're definitely creating a lot. I do think they're missing Mitrovic a lot, though. I'm not sure they had up front the other day. I think it's some young lad, because Jimenez hasn't really been doing it this season. But they're definitely missing that focal point up front. I think he'd be a lot higher in the table. Just struggling for goals. I don't think Jimenez has got one yet. I'm thinking that he's now been dropped for this young lad. I think actually went off injured in the end. I think I heard on the radio. And then typical United getting a last minute undeserved winner. From what I heard, the performance wasn't too great. It sounded like I was listening to it on the radio, and it sounded like they were getting battered really. Started the second half. It sounded like Fulham were on top. The crowd were up for it, and Bruno Fernandes with a late winner from a Fulham mistake where he just can't clear the ball. Had multiple chances to clear it, and Fernandes ends up scoring. I think they're up to about 8th now, Man United, which just says how poor the league's been this season, because you'd think they'd be a lot lower down with some of the dodgy results they've had, but I think they're up to 8th now, so that's lifted a bit of pressure off Ten Hag. But I still don't think they're playing for him, to be honest. It didn't sound like it was a great performance. I'm hearing rumours today they could be trying to flog Anthony in January when they brought him for 80 million and was meant to be one for the future last year. So that's a bit strange. I still don't know what's going on with the Sancho situation there. So I don't think they're playing for him by any stretch of the imagination. Still, by the sounds of it, obviously I know they've had quite a bit of bad luck with injuries, but they've still, to be honest, if they lost that Palace game, Ten Hag could have been gone then, and they should have lost that game. Wolves game, they shouldn't have won. So they could be around 12th, 13th with some of the games that they got lucky in. And that was another one, really. As for Fulham, it sounded like they played quite well. I think they're more than fine this season, but I don't think they're going to do anywhere near as well as they did last year. I'd say they're missing that focal point in Mitrovic, but yeah, another lucky win for United, I suppose.
Well put. Terry says, I have really started to dislike Man United. Never really felt negative towards any other teams, but they are really starting to grate on me a touch. I mean, that's nothing to do with the back-to-back 1-0 defeats we've seen at Old Trafford, and probably a third one on when are we going, February the 3rd, when no doubt they'll be crap and they'll beat us 1-0 at Old Trafford. But typical Man United, as always. There, even to everyone else, Robert, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Michael as well. Hope you are well. Oh god, we're next. This is too early in the show. Right. Brentford 3, West Ham 2, and I've ballsed this up as well because this means I've got to let Sean talk about West Ham, which is not good. Brentford 3, West Ham 2. well, it was interesting. That's the only compliment I'm going to give it, really. Mohamed Kudus, fantastic goal. No doubt about it. Superb player. That will be our goal of the season already in November. No doubt about that one. And we sat back second half, and it was pretty much from about the 40th minute onwards, Brentford really started to hold the pressure on, and it was inevitable they were going to score with the midfield that we fielded, which we didn't really have much choice, don't get me wrong, but with the midfield that was out there at that back line, who were pressurised, who were suffering without three key individuals in the side, and we folded in the end, and some really, really poor individual errors, as well as Moyes' I'm not even going to say the word substitutions, didn't help the situation either. And we never really looked like getting back into the game when it went 3-2. Brentford deserved to win. And more questions mounting on David Moyes. Sean?
Obviously, I was sort of on your show last night, writing a few comments down here and there. There's a few ways of viewing this. You can take it as one individual game, and it's not an unexpected defeat, really. They were favourites. Or you can look at it as that 4 defeats in 3 weeks in all competitions. 4. Yeah, I've watched all of them. I know you're aware. I don't know if you caught them on your holiday. I don't know if you've seen all them games, but
no, I saw one of them. That was enough.
In all the games, even the one in Europe, the midfield looked very disjointed. I know you've had to chop and change it a bit due to suspensions, but even so, I think I said last week, he doesn't seem to know who to play in the number 10 role. It's almost like you've got 2 free players that could play in there. I could go back to the beginning of the season when you had a couple of good wins, and I remember you knew it was poor football, but you were sort of laughing it off, saying we don't care as long as we're winning. And the dip in form, I thought at the time was probably inevitable, because that sort of negative football, getting the results, is not often sustainable. And I just think the bigger picture, David Moyes, this goes back to last season in the Premier League as well. I just find he maybe doesn't trust his players much. Do you know what I mean? He puts the shackles on when he doesn't trust them. So then he takes the shackles off and they look open and disjointed. So I do think he struggles to get the balance right, especially through the midfield. It's a tricky spot he's in. I think obviously you need the 2 that were suspended. Well, 2 suspended and Zuma out injured. You need your best players back. But even when you've got the 2 midfielders back, I don't like him putting Paqueta out on the left of the wing, the left midfield. I also think it sort of makes him he's looked quite poor, sort of with his back to goal. He's been robbed of the ball a few times and given away. I think it's been his fault, a couple of goals. I don't think you see the best of him there. You see him almost picking the ball off the left back. That's not where you want someone like Paqueta picking the ball up. You want him sort of mingling around the upper end of midfield, laying balls off to your runners like Kudus and Bowen. That's where you want a player of that talent. But then he's got to get the midfield balance behind that. You've got one out-and-out holder. Not many teams in the Premier League nowadays have an out-and-out holder. You could even say maybe Casemiro at United, and he gets slagged off. Rodri is probably a bit more than a holder. There's not many out-and-out holders. Because you've got an out-and-out holder who's there to do the ugly work and rough him up a bit, get a booking every week. You know, the old-school sort of player. It sort of can make the midfield balance hard to get right. So I look at it like Souček started the season really well. Now he's gone again. Ward-Prowse started the season brilliant form. All the stats are in his favour. Great at dead balls. Now I look at him and I think he doesn't know where to play him. And Ward-Prowse, I think he's looked quiet in the last few games. So something's gone wrong. And I do put it in that midfield area because you've got the attacking threat. There's no doubt about that. You've got the goals in the side. And I think you've got a good enough keeper and defensively higher than you are. It's just that midfield balance. On paper, they probably look half decent players, but for some reason, whether he's bought the wrong players, they're not gelling at all at the moment. It's almost like putting square pegs in round holes a little bit. And I know you probably enjoying the Ward-Prowse signing, but I just wonder whether he was the right sort of midfielder you needed. Because if you got a holder,
Moyes seems very bemused in the way to play him, especially when Alvarez wasn't there. I mean, he's struggled playing in a more deeper role because he is that naturally more progressive player. You know, he didn't sit and sweep up in front of the back line against Southampton. Of course, he didn't. He played, mingling round that centre circle area and picking things up and passing it on. And he's just all of a sudden the last couple of weeks, everything he seems to do is sideways and backwards, and he just seems to slow things down. Go on, Sean. Last comment.
Oh yeah, because I think he's sort of trying to play a version of 4-2-3-1 a little bit, isn't he? Really, I don't think that's not a formation that suits Ward-Prowse, in my opinion.
No,
and I'm not sure it's a formation nowadays that probably is good for Souček either. Do you know what I mean? Because and if you've got Piqué, you've got to play him in the middle behind the striker with your two fast wingers either side. But he's not. He's almost. Yeah, that's where I'd be a bit concerned. He's on paper, he's got the midfielders there, but he's just not fitting him into this formation style at all. And I think I didn't actually watch the Brentford game, but the two or three games I did see when you're away, when you lost the ball, they just cut straight through you. You look very open and disjointed all through the midfield, and I'd be desperate to get Paqueta back more central on the field when he's fit. If he just comes back in and takes Ben Rama's spot out wide again, I think you're just wasting a talented player a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Let's hit some of the comments. Good 40 minutes and it all went downhill. Yeah, but if Mickey left that ball, Bailey puts it in 3-1 game over. But Brentford don't come back from that. But it's fine margins in the game of football, unfortunately. Terry says, maybe I'm in a cranky mood today, but Alan Smith is still annoying me. Honestly, if I've got to listen to Alan Smith commentate on another West Ham game, I'll tell you what, if we against Arsenal later on in the season, I've got Alan Smith commentating, I'm literally just going to turn it off.
Yeah, because Jake, he commentates on every single North London derby. Imagine that.
Oh my Lord! Honestly,
every North London derby's on commentary.
I sympathise in every way because I've never been that close to literally. I love to listen to the commentary. I find it bizarre not to, but I was so close to grabbing the remote control Wednesday night and just turning it off because he was getting on my nerves so much. Everything was about Arsenal, and it just irritated me beyond belief. But anyway, Terry, thanks for angering me even more. Lawrence, thanks for joining us. Josh's granddad says West Ham were lucky when their two players went for the same ball. If that's going on in, it would have been a different result. Unlucky. Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. Our resident Spurs fan, Bronny, is excited for tonight. Look, come on, I'm not going to say that, am I? Spurs 2, Chelsea 0. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Right, next up, let's go. Sheffield United registered their first win in the Premier League, and Gary O'Neill's having a bit of a tough time of it with VAR and results like this. Josh, over to you.
Yeah, well, I just can't believe Sheffield won a game, to be honest, but it shows how big of a miss that Neto is. I'm not sure how long he's out for, but I know he picked up an injury against Newcastle, and it'll be a big miss for them. As for the penalty decision, it is very similar to the one they had against Newcastle the week before, whether you just don't know if, the Sheffield player, kicks in first or not. It's a tough one. I can see why he's moaning again, to be fair, but no, I thought it did look like Wolves had the best chances in the game as well, to be fair. A very well taken goal by Cameron Archer in the second half from outside his own box. We sold him this summer for 20 million. I think there's a buyback fee in there, but if they go down, I can't see us there buying him back at any point. But yeah, very good finish from him. And apart from that, I think we just sat back really. And that Wolves attacked them. I think it was like a 90 plus 1 minute equaliser for Wolves. And then it was something like 90 plus 10 with a penalty winning. And they celebrated in the league when they won a game, which I think just shows how poor they've been this season, really. And yeah, apart from that, I'm not really sure because I didn't watch the game. I still think Sheffield will probably come bottom this season. I think teams like Luton and Burnley have more of a chance than them because at least they've got some sort of quality or identity in the squad. Sheffield United I don't know. The rumours that the owner's going to sell it for months now, and they've hardly got any more. The rumours that they're going to bring Chris Wilder back for ages, but I don't think they are going to now after they've had a few drubbings, and if they didn't do it then, I don't think they're going to do it now. But yeah, it's good to see them get the first win, but it's still going to be very, very tough for them. And as for Wolves, once they get Neto back and a few other players, they'll also be fine. I think they're down to 14th now, but I think they'll end up in that sort of mid-table area. A lot of people were saying they had them to go down this year, but I think they've still got a lot of quality despite the amount of players they've lost. But yeah, good to see Sheffield get the first win.
Yeah, well, it seems like 2 sets forward for them and almost 1 step back, especially if Luton would have held on against the Scousers yesterday. But we'll get onto that a little bit later on. Monday night football is kicked off already, and if Gary Neville hasn't stirred the Arsenal pot already, he has just even more by demonstrating a key lesson of angles, which is 100% correct. We'll get onto the Arsenal game a little bit later on, but it mildly amused me because he's wound them all up on Twitter and yesterday, and he's just done it all over again. He's got them on strings. Next, we go to Goodison Park. Everton 1, Brighton 1. Sean.
Yeah, we mentioned about Brighton last week, didn't we, with the Europe and all that? I don't know. Everyone sort of maybe over-talked Brighton. They're a great team for the neutral, aren't they? Let's be honest. They play nice football, but I don't know whether they've been over-talked a little bit. They've got a few extra games. They've had a few poor results now. I know Everton have been a little bit more form, and they have been picking at the odd point, win here and there. But I think the last couple of weeks, Brighton have just been involved in probably a couple of dull games a little bit. And Brighton involved in the Carabao Cup in the week as well. I can't remember.
Did they play Carabao Cup? I'll have a little look. Go on.
Well, this sort of period, the last 3 weeks, same as yourself and most of the clubs. Obviously, Tottenham went out of the cup. They were in Fulham in the second round, whatever it was. But for the teams in Europe and the team in the Carabao Cup, you've gone League, Carabao Cup, League, Europe, and now you're back to Europe again this week. So it's a busy little period for all the clubs in Europe and the League Cup. And
they didn't play in the Cup.
Did they not? But obviously they've had Europe last week. I'd imagine the manager's very prone to rotating. Anyway, as we said before, it's lucky Dick what midfield he picks every week. I'm guessing they've got Europa League this week as well. Yeah. So maybe he's over tinkering. I would actually say this is not a bad point for Everton. Do you know what I mean?
What they've got Ajax away on Thursday, then Sheffield United at home the following Sunday. So when we come back to that this next week, be interesting to see whether that curse hits him again.
He's obviously a modern thinking manager, but these modern thinking managers can overthink it sometimes. You've got an old school manager who goes the other way. That you had a game like your Carabao Cup, so probably one of the strongest sides you could have put out by 1 or 2. I know he doesn't often make many changes in extreme ones away in Europe either. He might make 2 or 3 changes at the top. He doesn't go stupid with it often. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh on Everton, not mentioning them, but just think at home, you can't ever be too happy with a point. And I don't know if Brighton are going to be anywhere near as good as they were the last couple of seasons. I think when you look at, as a West Ham fan, if you look above you in the league, I think they're probably one of the teams that you'd look at probably trying to catch. I think if you look at the side above you, I think they'll be the ones. Villa as well will come under them. They've obviously been in the Cup in Europe, and then they go and have probably what most is an unexpected result. But I think we might see this with these clubs this season who haven't been in Europe for forever, basically. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to get used to. I said the same to you a couple of years ago that you might see a downturn in your league results because players just aren't used to it, and it's not something you learn overnight. So yeah, keep an eye on Brighton. They're obviously not going to struggle. They probably won't ever drop the bottom half, but they're going to be 2 or 3 spots below what they were last year. And as for Everton, I think I said they probably shouldn't be happy with a point because a home draw against a goodish team. I don't think it's ever a brilliant result, but I think they're probably going to be happy just to tick over the season. Do you know what I mean? They're probably just going to be happy to stay up to play in the new stadium next year in the Premier League. So.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take some more of your comments. Michael says, Kane, what's this? Kane 15 goals already this season. Must be a poor league. He'll be back next year. Don't worry about that. Right, Terry's on a mission tonight. I'll tell you what else is annoying me. Christmas adverts. See, look, we got Josh rigorously, nodding his head here. Christmas adverts is November. We now spend 1/6 of the year being bombarded with this drivel. Josh, do you agree?
I do agree. It's just like we're getting more excited with this period every year. I think it's just silly, and it does my head in, to be honest.
Sean, I'm sure you agree.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. To be honest. I can live without it at the moment, put it that way.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Right, Josh's grandlad says Josh was at the Everton match with me. He will tell you that a few of the players were dead on the feet, and he didn't make the change of a sub until the 89th minute. In the end, though, I'm quite happy getting 4 points. Yeah, all right. There's no need to rub it in. There's no need to rub it in. Look, when you look at it, that 4 points in those 2 games is a brilliant return, I think, for Everton. I think they will be chuffed with that one. Christmas is Anfield away, 20th of December. Oh, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. 5,000 West Ham fans getting through to the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. Fingers crossed. Last time we were at this stage, we lost to them lot, but that's not going to happen this time round. It's not. Let's go up to the Etihad next. Manchester City 6, Bournemouth 1. I predicted 3-0. Just double it and add 1 for Bournemouth. And that's what you get. Look, it is what it is. Josh, this is you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I had a bit of a mare in a fantasy, putting Haaland captain. No goals, no 6-1 win. I think he went off injured at half time.
Dad put him as triple captain.
Yeah, that's not ideal. I also put Darwin Núñez in because he had Luton.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
So a bit of a poor week for me. I'm relying on Sterling and Maddison tonight. But no, Jeremy Doku with 4 assists, which is very good. Not sure what price he is on your fantasy, but I think he'll be a good one to get in. Replaced him very well with Mahrez. I think we were linked to him quite a few times this summer. Obviously, when they come in, he's not going to go to us. But he looks like a very good Mahrez replacement. He's obviously a different type of player, a lot quicker, right-footed, but yeah, he could be even better. 4 assists in this game, which is just ridiculous. As for Bournemouth, I'm surprised their owners haven't bit the bullet with Viraola yet. You've got to give them time, but them American owners, they don't usually understand what time means in football. So I'm surprised they haven't sacked me. I obviously got the first win last week against Burnley, been very poor in recent weeks. And I still think I've got Bournemouth to go down. The team. They try and play good football. They try to bring it over from Spain, and it's a bit like Burnley trying to play good football in the Premier League, but you just haven't got the players to, and you just can't. It's just a completely different level, the Premier League, and they're struggling a lot. They spent quite well in the summer. They brought about 6 or 7 players in. I think they spent heavily in the January window as well. But again, a bit like Burnley, it's not much Premier League experience in there. I think they brought Patrick Kluivert in as well. He's played in about 4 different leagues, but not the Premier League. They've not really got any Premier League experience in there apart from Tom Solanke, and that's about it really. So I think they are going to struggle, Bournemouth. But yeah, the City is just. I think they're back in the groove now, aren't they? After the 2 losses in the run, and I think they're just going through this league now. They're going to 15-20 game winning run or something ridiculous like that, and probably win the league. But I suppose that's just the way football is, isn't it, nowadays?
Yeah, they'll win the league by far. Not what that Pratt O'Hara thinks. He thinks Spurs are going to win the league, but most Spurs fans hate him, Sean. So it don't really matter what you say. I don't mean to pick fault, Sean, but I mean I've just looked through your fantasy team. I mean, I commend Craig Dawson in there. I absolutely commend it. But what on earth Saeed Benrahma's there? And I don't know to start with. Ezri Konsa is in there, so you get a nod of the head from Josh. What's your train of thought here, Sean?
Well, Benrahma was getting some minutes, and I do it very quick. Let's just put it like that.
Well, there's still hope. You've got 25 points this week, and you've got Maddison and Son tonight, so you've still got some hope.
Yeah, I'm not very good on it. I'll be honest. I only went on it the other day because I realised I had. Did I still have De Bruyne in it? I can't remember.
Well, you've currently got Guimaraes in it, who's injured, who's suspended till the 25th of November. So you might need to have another look at it next week.
Yeah, I'll try to remember, mate. I'll get them sorted. After the international break, I'll be good.
Okay, all right, yeah, all good stuff. Next, let's go to Turf Moor, where the Burnley boys are struggling continuously. It seems now they've gone on a historic run at home of losses at the start of the Premier League season. Guess who they've got at home next? Oh yeah, you wouldn't believe it, would you? We know what's going to happen there. But anyway, Burnley 0, Crystal Palace 2. Probably a probably the recognisable, or what's the word? Unforgettable game of the weekend, Sean, if I dare say.
I think most Burnley games are the forgettable one, aren't they? Yeah, I'm going to repeat myself. So I just think of Vincent Kompany when I see how their results go. And I know they're a football club, and I know Palace played as well, but I'm just trying to work out how it's going to end up with him. Is he going to be the type just to walk? I don't know. They're in a strange situation. They're probably one of the strangest promoted clubs I could think of in a very, very long time, because they sort of blew the league away last year. Everyone got excited about the style. Probably got overexcited because he's one of Pep's former players, probably, and he likes to play the certain play out from the back and quality. And I think a lot of people, I know some had him struggling, but I had him a lot higher than this. I'm just very surprised that they've been so poor. And I know you said you're going up there in a couple of weeks. I don't see them handling your speed up front. I just don't see that happening at all. I think they're very easy to score against. I think we said last week about who plays up front for them. Do you know what I mean? I can't name a forward that they've got on the side at the moment. Front three.
I can't name a player they've got, to be honest with you. I don't even know one.
That's a good one. I'd have to think for a long time to try and really think of a player they've got. I know they signed a couple from Man City with some of the kids on loan, didn't they, or something? Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, this is probably the sort of result you can see Roy Hodgson going there and winning. I think I could be wrong, but did think Burnley had most of the ball, didn't they? A bit of a possession sort of game. Didn't really do a lot with it. I've seen that as they come back into the team, he's due to sign a new contract with him. I read, but I know a few clubs would be in for him. So whether he signs a new deal there, it's sounding like it's going to happen. But yeah, I know we keep slagging off the three teams down the bottom, but it's hard not to.
It's really hard not to.
Well, we'll come on to a game in a minute where we're probably going to praise them a little. One of the teams, but Sheffield United, people are probably they're always going to win a game or two. It's just whether they can get themselves over like 20 points.
Yeah,
that's the slog. You can cheer and celebrate one win or a draw, but you're going to need what keeps you up at the moment at 35 minimum, something like that.
Well, the issue that these teams down there have currently got is there's already a bit of a gap creating. You know, there's a bottom four, and there's a big gap for this stage of the season. There's a big gap between Bournemouth and Everton. I think there's about 6-point gap or something ridiculous like that. So those four are currently camped in, and unless something drastic happens, then they're going to stay there. And 4 out of those 3 currently are the likelihood to go down. But yeah, Burnley, poor. We'll get on to Luton in just a second. But before that, let's go up to St. James's Park. Josh, you've got the privilege of trying to dissect this. Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0, and Sean's going to throw you a bucket of Arsenal tears in the process.
Yeah, it was just another horrendous VAR performance, really, wasn't it? It's just that.
Was it though?
I think it was. Yeah, the goal. I just thought straight away you can see the ball looks a mile out, and from that angle, it did look like there was a gap between the ball and the line. And after it, to be honest, I don't see much wrong with it after it. But the first thing he checked was the ball. The ball did look out. It looked like there was quite a deep gap between the ball and the line. And then the rest of it just looks like poor goalkeeping and defending. After that, one thing I will say is the way Arteta's saying about like he wants competition for places with goalkeepers. And then Ray has been in for the last 5 or 6 games and he's just cocked up about 4 in those games, and he still keeps his place. So I don't think that's true. I think he just really wants to get rid of Ramsdale. But no, I can see his frustrations, Arteta, but I don't really like Arteta too much anyway. He's always out of his technical area. He's always like moaning at the ref. That I'm not the biggest fan of him anyway. And apart from that, it wasn't a great game really. Arsenal had most of the ball. Thought Saka and Martinelli were basically anonymous. Thing is with Saka, he only really got a left foot, and every time they were just showing him on his right, and he just looked a bit lost. That Livramento who come off the bench Southampton, he dealt with Martinelli very well. Anthony Gordon played well as well for Newcastle, got the goal. It wasn't a pretty performance for Newcastle, but they worked hard, they dug deep, they don't play the best football, and they're quite an old school team, but every player's going to work hard, they press very well, and they're clinical as well. And that was it really. It wasn't the most entertaining games of football, to be honest. It was just Arsenal had most of the ball, but Newcastle worked hard and they took the chances. I fancied Newcastle half time when it's 0-0 because they were getting a few chances on the break, and Arsenal just never really looked like scoring. I think that's their unbeaten start to the season over, but they did have quite a few draws as well. And I think Liverpool will be close to Man City and Arsenal at the end of the season now. I just think in some games they're a bit too passive. I thought even against Man City they got a bit lucky, apart from the goal they scored, which is a lucky deflection. They never really had any clear-cut chances. I just think that they're trying to be Man City a bit too much, if you know what I mean, like with the football. You just need to go a bit more direct. They're sort of trying to walk in a lot as well. There's a few times they just could have pulled the trigger and they just play another pass and look like they're trying to walk it in a bit. But now, as for Newcastle, that gap between us and them didn't last very long. I think they're 2 points behind us again now. I think the Champions League game in a week, but no, I think they'll be there or thereabouts again this year, top 6 or 7. But no, I can see Arteta's frustrations, to be fair. I don't think the goal should have stood.
Well, there's plenty to dissect with it. Now what I referenced just a minute ago, look, I don't know whether the ball was in or out, and the key word is the conclusive evidence that was unavailable to the VAR people that were in the hub. Now, this is an example that was given. So the difference with the angles that you've got here is that you've got that angle where it's showing that the ball is clearly in play, and then when you go back to that angle, it looks like the ball's out of play. And this is where, once again, we've had this discussion before about how many cameras are around a Premier League football stadium. And once again, we're dealt with an issue where there's no conclusive evidence to say whether it's in or out. So we've got to go with the on-field decision. And there's no better camera angle than that. On the standards, there's no better camera angle than that. They had, I think, Sean, you said before, they had 30 or 40 cameras at the World Cup all around the grounds to eliminate this sort of thing. And I don't know how many cameras they had around St James's Park, but clearly not enough to provide a better angle than that. So look, I thought personally, listen, you can say what you like about the foul. I didn't think it was a foul. I think it's very soft. Whether there's a handball in there, I'm not sure. But for once, the time it took was wrong, and probably the couple of sending off were wrong. Yeah, I thought the Ben White was a yellow card, but Guimaraes giving him the old forearm to not even be looked at, I thought was a bit bizarre. So overall, I didn't think VAR had great control of the game, but when you break it down, in my opinion, think that VAR probably implemented it with the resources that they had available. I think they probably got it as close to correct as they could have done. Look, people would have moaned either way. And Arsenal have had a meltdown. Arteta's had a meltdown. They've even released a statement, Liverpool 2.0, about it, which is mildly amusing. But look, we'll be here all night discussing it. I think they probably did the best that they could. Right, I've got the wrong orders on here, so we're going to go to 4:30 and then come back to 2 o'clock. Sean, Luton 1, Liverpool 1.
Well, yeah, no one's seen this coming, and Liverpool nearly lost it, didn't they?
Should have lost it.
Yeah, they weren't very good. But we got to praise Luton for it. Am I right in saying that no team has beaten them at home by one, got more than a goal or something like that? So that we talk about all three of the promoted sides. You've either got to be tight at the back or score goals, haven't you? And that. I know it sounds very simple, but that's the only way they're going to get out of it. And I think it might have been Stan Collymore wrote on Twitter that they're keeping games tight, but they need to turn draws into wins. They need to get over the line. Like you said, Liverpool probably didn't deserve it. I think Liverpool fans have had a few cries about possible penalty decisions, but again, I think VAR probably got them correct. Bit like the last game, I agree entirely what you said with VAR. I always said about not enough cameras in the grounds, but I thought the ball was probably still in, and I like what Gary Neville did on the show tonight, explaining it. He couldn't have done it any better. I don't know if you remember the goal in the World Cup. Was it Japan, where it looked miles over? They had the better cameras. Probably the tech that they have in the Champions League. It looked miles over. when they showed the overhead view, it was about a millimetre or two in. Well, that we need that sort of view just to eradicate these. I know I've gone off track on my game. I need to do a rant, I think. I think what we need to do is eradicate these imbeciles. You get imbecile managers, and
Sean's got that angry. He's legged it. He's lazy. He's got that angry about something that he's just went, you know what, sod it. Absolutely sod it. Right, we'll take some comments while Sean rewires back into us. That was the best moment of the show, Josh. Sean was really just getting into action, and it all went belly up. See, you were just really getting angry, Sean, and it all went belly up.
right, I'm gonna keep this swift.
Okay.
The reason I think we got VAR in the first place, and I stand by this, is TV and press started going overboard, hammering decisions and showing. You could have a 2-0 win. They'll show more repeats of the mistakes and the referee decisions and the goals. I think that is what brought this VAR in. I think VAR on the whole is not working too bad at the moment, but it's come in because everyone slagged off the refs, so the refs needed help. Now, the likes of Sky Sports, they get different. They had Mark Bosnich on there talking about the decision earlier. Every single former player's got a view on it. It's all about the blimmin' decisions, what should have happened, what shouldn't have happened. Then you get imbeciles like Arteta. All it does is stirs up fan bases. Arsenal fans are trying to get a petition together to ban Gary Neville and Carragher from the ground. It's not even a game anymore. It's just becoming a row who can get the most sort of decisions. I don't know. It's just that's part of the game. I think is getting worse. I think that's worse than the VAR getting the decisions wrong.
Yeah,
it's getting real stupid. The managers, the likes, and the clubs that are doing statements. That's not helping anyone. What do they hope is going to happen from this?
What's the
If
purpose?
The officials are only doing what they can do. VAR is only using the tech that it's got. So what do they want? Do you know what I mean? Let's get rid of VAR then. So the Liverpool goal that was scored against Tottenham, which is obviously wrong. The flag was up. All right, so that's disallowed then. That's fine. We move on. We'll go back to how it was. The goal for Newcastle, it was given, wasn't it? It was given. The goal was given. It's only because we had a 20-second replay of the ball on or over the line, 20-second replay of a possible push, then the possible handball, possible offside, and now we're talking about it now. We're only 2 days after. Give it another week, we'll still be talking about it.
Yeah.
So it's just the game's getting ruined by over analysing these decisions now, and I think that is the reason why VAR come in the first place. The game is just forgetting that the game is actually a game of football, not a game of analysing the decisions after the match. And it is getting a bit crap now. It's getting real tedious. But the game's on tonight. I'm thinking, you're almost thinking in the back of your head, what are they going to dissect in this game? There's going to be something. And I'd rather go back to the old days where they don't necessarily show 20 replays. Maybe social media's killed it because obviously everyone's got a still frame on social media, or beIN Sports in Dubai, wherever they've got their own replay. Yeah. It's just gone overboard showing replays, and it's caused a shocking reaction. And fans on social media, probably an old school fan before social media went to games, probably didn't realise that these over the top fools existed, because it's getting ridiculous now. It's not. Everyone's just laughing at each other. I think the game's just going out the window a little bit. How we all know it, really.
Yeah, I'm conscious of time because I wouldn't want you to miss some of your beloved Spurs, Sean. So we'll retrack back to 2 o'clock. Now, there was some discussion last week about Villa and top 4 hopes. Now, I kept quiet because I was a little bit bemused by it in the first place, to be honest with you. And I see results like this coming, to be honest with you, Josh, with Europe and with all these other games that Villa are going to play. And yeah, I think Villa were unfortunate in the game, and on another day they get at least a point out of it. But I think it's probably a wake up call to some fans.
Yeah, we weren't great, to be honest. We had absolutely all the ball, but we ended up just lost the game to 2 long shots. Simply, they never really had any clinical chances for us, and both of the goals were just from outside of the box, and our midfield just too slow to get out and block a shot. the first goal, I don't really know what we were doing. Why no one charged down a shot, I don't know. We just gave him all the time in the world to shoot, and you could see as soon as he was trickling in the bottom corner. So that was about 4 minutes in, and then first half we just moved it really slow. They're getting in on our high line quite a bit, and slowly in the first half we start getting a bit better. You think just don't concede near the goal. Second half might be able to get something. But that's exactly what we do. Start second half. Just I don't know what Martinez is trying to do, to be honest. He needs to bring his head back down to earth after winning the best keeper award or ever in the Ballon d'Or last week. I'm not sure what he was trying to do. I think he was trying to make it good for the cameras.
Nice camera save that, yeah.
Yeah, and it went really wrong in the end. And then after that, we just absolutely battered them. Had all the ball, all the possession, but we just could not find the back of net. Leon Bailey, come on. He seems to turn into Pele once every 5 games, and the rest of the time he's just a championship standard player. He's just one of them. He's a 1 in 5 man. He was just horrendous. Smart shots. He just blazed over the bar. At times he'd go on to his right foot and he doesn't have a right foot, and then he's just stuck in what he tries to cut back, and it seems like they tackled him. And then I thought all the forwards were anonymous as well, to be honest. Diaby and Watkins, really poor. And Diaby could be one of them who's not as good in some away games either. Watkins missed an absolute sitter as well, like he was from a header about 6 yards out, not long after they scored. And I thought Luca Dean's final ball every time was really poor. He was the outlet every time, but his cross was so poor. It just land behind the forwards or just wouldn't beat the first man. Or set pieces were so poor as well. They had a new keeper in who come from a foreign league, was making his debut. I just thought, let's hit some long shots, test him, like get some balls in the box, like put him under a bit of pressure. But no, we were just trying to walk it in, and it wasn't good enough, really. And I just think in away games, we just don't have the same team. I think we've won 2 out of 10 now in away games. Obviously, we've won 12 home league wins on the spin, and no question about the home form. But we just need to get the away form. It just looks like 2 different teams to me. We seem to move the ball so much quicker, and the high line just seems to be getting broke down so much. Like, it's so easy for teams to get in behind, especially away from home. Luca Dino just tends to just fall asleep away. Alex Moreno's coming back, which is good for us because I think Dinier's good in home games, but just away from home, he's just defensively not good enough. Pau Torres just looks slow in away games as well. I've got no problem with our defence on the ball. They're really good. They can ping 40-yard balls, probably pass better than most of our midfield, but they're just defensively. Torres in away games just still adjusting to the league, obviously, but just hasn't got to grips with it yet. I think that's where we missed Tyrone Mings, because obviously he's just a bit of pace in the back line, and the high line wasn't getting caught out as much last season than there. But now it is quite a bit, and that just concerns me for when we play like the really bigger teams like Man City and Arsenal with their quicker forwards. We probably will get battered like we did against Liverpool and Newcastle, which concerns me quite a bit, but hopefully we can sort that out. But I still think top 5 or 6, if we just keep the home form up and hopefully sort the way from out, we might have a chance of that. But yeah, maybe top 4 is a bit of a step too far, and especially when last week we created a nice gap between Brighton and Newcastle of 5 points. I think now Newcastle are back to 2 points behind us, and Brighton are 4 points behind us. They're already catching us up again, but we've got to keep the faith. We've got 8 out more in the week at home, and then Fulham at home on the Sunday before another international break, which is quite frustrating. But yeah, for disappointing performance, really frustrating game.
Some concerns on the road for Villa. Well, I can't wait for international break. But yeah, I can't wait till a week off, to be honest with you. Right, thank you very much indeed, gentlemen, for tonight. You're not missing much, Sean, because Daniel Sturridge is providing some punditry on Sky Sports at the moment. So give us a prediction, Sean, before we go.
I never ever watched you build up the games, believe it or not. Just all the waffle that interests me enough. It's a weird one. Obviously, it's quite a volatile sort of derby. This one, it's never nice. Fans that do not like throwing the Poch thing, fan rivalry. If we're going to lose one, it'd be tonight, I think. But I'd like to think we're a very open team. That's why Spurs games are entertaining, because we will give chances to the other side. So it will be a bit end to end. I'd like to think we'll just edge it 2-1. But it's going to be one of those games where there's going to be moments. Chelsea will have big moments in this game, but we'll see.
Yeah. Josh, what are you thinking?
I think Spurs should win. I'll probably say 3-1. I do think Chelsea have quite a few chances, but just won't be clinical enough. And hopefully Maddison does be something in my fantasy. And I think I'm on 19 points, which is really poor. So
The fantasy's looking good. I'm on top of both of you at the moment. Sean's down in 50th. I'm 15th, and I think you're about 20th. So if we can just keep it like that, that would be lovely. Boys, thank you very much indeed for another week. I will see you next week, the last one before another international break. So that is all well and good. So yeah, Sean and Josh, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
No problem. We'll chat again soon.
We certainly will. Poch will get a hero's return tonight, I'm sure. He's already been clapped. So, I've seen videos of him being clapped.
Scumbag.
See, legend of the club, I say, Sean. Legend of the club. Don't you agree? Don't go into it. Thank you very much. Cheers, boys. Bye-bye.
See you later.
yeah,